Okay, this is my first training session with Lily. Lily is a tiny little cutie. So adorable. Yes, hello. What do you think? You like your squeaky toys? Oh, good girl. Oh, what is that? What is that? Do you like to play too, like your brother? I think Lily is the smallest puppy that we'll be working with this time. You are so cute. So the very first thing that we are going to teach Lily today is what the clicker means. So I have a clicker in my hand here. So the clicker is going to let Lily know when she is about to get a food reward. So to teach her that, we are just going to pair the sound of the clicker with food, maybe 3 to 5 times in a row. So I'm going to get some cookies ready. Now the clicker doesn't have to happen right next to the dog, and it is kind of loud. So actually what I'm probably going to do is hold it behind my back the first few times. I'm just going to click the clicker, and then I'm going to feed Lily a piece of food. I just want her to make that association that the sound of the clicker means that food is going to happen. Wow, what a good girl. And she loves these snacks. Good girl. She is all about the food. Right, so let's do that one more time. The clicker is kind of loud, so by charging the clicker like this, I can make sure that the puppy isn't afraid of the sound of the clicker, and we can sort of prep them or prime them for the training session. So usually I will charge the clicker like this 3 to 5 times before we start to move into some other behaviors right off the bat for brand new puppies, maybe for the first week, or new dogs who've never heard the clicker before. We'll start our training sessions off this way for the first week. Good girl. Now the next exercise that I'm going to do with Lily is just to teach her that she should follow a food lure when I have food in my hand. So again, oh my goodness, look at her. I think she'll have no problem with this. She seems very food motivated. I'm just going to get a few pieces of cookie ready to go. She's already sniffing my treat pouch like, oh, I know what's in there. Yeah, you know what's in there. And I'm going to grab one of these pieces of cookie. I'm going to show Lily that I have it. I'm going to even let her lick at the treat in my fingers a little bit. And I'm just going to slowly pull it away from her so that she stays connected to my hand though. And after she takes a few steps, then I'm going to click that clicker and go ahead and feed her the treat. And I don't know if you noticed, but she did kind of respond to the sound of the clicker that time. So I'm going to go ahead and hold it behind my back again, just so it's not so in her face when I click it, because it is kind of loud. I'm going to see how she's staying connected to my hand. If you're using a food lure, this is how close the dog should be when you're luring them. Okay, so let's do that a couple more times. Taking a couple steps, clicking, and then feeding that treat. What a good girl. One more time. Let me take a little break. Following that food hand. Very good. Very good job. And you can see she stopped kind of, reacting to the sound of the clicker when I held it behind my back again. So we'll probably continue to do that for most of today's training session. And we're going to take a little break in between exercises. The attention span of baby puppies is really tiny, so just cleaning up my crumbs here. You gonna clean those up for me? Thanks. So in between exercises, we do want to make sure that we take a little play break. All right. Oh, what's over there? A little bed. You like that? Yeah, we're gonna do that soon too. Good girl. Okay, and you'll start to notice here that each exercise that we do is going to slightly build off the previous exercise. So the next step that we're gonna do here is the first foundation step in name recognition. So basically what I'm gonna teach Lily what her name is, and that when she hears her name, fun things are going to happen. So just like in the last exercise, I'm going to start with a few pieces of food in my hand. So we're going to use a food lure. What are you sniffing the freezer? Huh? Oh, good girl. Oh, that's a big piece. Her needs a little piece right now. And I'm going to do this the same way that I did the last one, but now I'm just going to pair it with her name. So she's going to follow my hand for a couple of steps. Lily. I'm going to say her name, click the clicker to mark that, and then feed her the treat. It was behind my back again. Take a couple steps. Good girl, Lily. Click that clicker and feed her the treat. Do that 2 more times. Lily. Very good girl. And last time. Lily. Beautiful. Good job, girlfriend. Good job. Yes. Now, up until this point, I have been feeding Lily from my hand. So often when we train new behavior, we will hand feed the dog once they perform the behavior and we've marked it with the clicker. But we can be strategic about reinforcement sometimes. So sometimes I actually like to put food down on the ground to reward the behavior depending on what it is we're teaching the puppy. And so again, just like teaching the dog that they can follow food in our hand and that they should stay close to it, I also want to teach the brand new puppy that they can get food off of the ground when I cue them to do so. So I'm going to, what is it? You want to chase it? Good girl. Good girl. You wanted to chase it, but she didn't want to pick it up. I'm going to teach her the cue get it to mean you can go get that piece of cookie off the ground. Now I'm going to start pretty simple. Show you here. Get a cookie in my hand. Oh, and now she's got that toy though. Look at you. Yeah, look at you. I'm not going to toss the cookie very far to start because I don't want to make it too hard. I just want to show Lily that I have the cookie, and then I'm going to say, get it! And I might even point it out to her on the ground. Okay? So what? That was only like 5 or 6 inches away from her. Okay, I'm going to do that again. Lily, get it! Ooh, that one did kind of roll farther, but she went for it. Good girl. Okay. Get it! Yeah, good girl. One more time. Lily, get it. Good job. So now she knows how to follow a piece of food in my hand, and she also is going to start to learn that when I say get it, it means she can find food on the ground that I've tossed for her. What? Yes. So the next foundation exercise that we are going to do is called a hand target. I want to teach Lily to target her nose to my flat palm. So I like to use a nice flat palm for this behavior. So then it's also a secondary visual cue when you see my flat hand that you should come target your nose to it. And the hand target is a nice foundation behavior that's very easy to teach baby puppies. I'm going to start with a food lure just as I have been with everything else, and you'll see it's almost very similar to having her follow the food lure, the exercises that we've already been doing. But then I will show you how to get rid of the food in your hand so that we have a nice offered hand target. I'm going to get a couple cookies ready. Okay, I'm going to show her that I have one, but how it's going to be a little bit different from following the food lure is I am going to move a little bit faster now. Okay, so I'm going to show her that I have the cookie, and then I'm going to say, Lily, touch. I'm going to click the clicker when she eats the cookie out of my hand. So this time she's not staying connected to my hand the whole time because I am moving a little bit faster, and when she gets to my hand and she eats the cookie, that is what I'm marking with the clicker. Lily, touch. Good girl. Let's do this one more time with a food lure. So again, I have the food in my hand. Show her that I have it. Move a little bit faster than following the lure. Lily, touch. Very good girl. And now immediately I have no food in my hand and touch. As soon as I feel her bop her nose onto my hand, mark it with the clicker, and then you can see how I came in and fed her the treat after the fact. So often when we're teaching new behavior to puppies or our adult dogs, we might start with a piece of food in our hand, but very quickly we want to try to get rid of that food lure and have an offered behavior. Now with baby puppies, we are still marking offered behavior with the clicker and paying out with a food reward after the fact. We're just not luring them with that food reward. It's just not happening until after the clicker. So now I'm going to go back to the food lure for a couple repetitions because this is such a brand new behavior for Lily. Lily, touch. Good girl. One more with the food lure. Lily, touch. Very good. And now let's see if she can do it with no food in her hand. Lily, touch. And you can see how fast she's coming in with that nose target now. Very good girl. You are so smart. Yes, you are. You are so smart. Okay, so that was a big one. So we're going to take a little break again. See if she wants to play a little bit. She just did a lot of thinking. Yeah. What? What are we doing? You like to play? What is this? Ooh. Yeah, your brother liked that one. She's like, bring out those snacks again, lady. Sniffing a harness over there. Yeah, we're gonna do that too. Good girl. Yeah, here, get it. All right, so the next behavior that we're gonna do is we're gonna spend a little time with her mat that I've got over here. By the end of 3 weeks, the puppies are usually pretty good with going over to their mat, sitting or laying down and staying there while we move around them a little bit. So they get in a pretty good place with this foundation mat work. So I'm just going to kind of move this stuff off to the side so that we've got some room. And I'm going to have my clicker ready. And I have a couple of treats ready. And I'll show you what we're going to do with this. I'm going to start by putting the mat down on the ground. Ooh, Lily! As soon as she comes over to it, I'm going to mark it with the clicker. Then I'm going to drop, for these puppies, I'm just going to do 2 treats on the mat. So she found the first one. There's the second one. As soon as they're done eating the last treat that you set on the mat, you're going to pick that mat up from underneath them. I'm just going to move it, maybe a couple of feet. Good girl. As soon as she comes over, I'm going to mark that with the clicker. Then I'm going to drop 2 cookies on it, one at a time though. I'm not dropping the cookies like in a pile. Right? I'm going to pick it up, move it again. I think we're going to do this maybe like 4 repetitions. And as soon as she comes over to it, I'm going to click, feed her one, then a second one. Oh, you're eating those a little too fast. Okay, there you go. Great. Now I really don't care right now if our puppies are sitting, standing, or laying down on the mat. My goal for the first week is that we just teach them when the mat hits the ground, you should come over to it no matter where I put it. Wow, good girl. And then hopefully we're picking up that mat from underneath them before they have a chance to leave it on their own. That was so good. So we're just gonna do these things for, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 repetitions probably max. And then we're gonna take a little break, right? I don't wanna do things over and over again for too long because I don't want the dog to lose interest in the exercise. Okay, especially these little tiny guys. They're still so young right now. Their attention span is really short. Oh, good girl. All right, so we've got a couple more things that we're gonna do here with Lily before we wrap it up. I like to do some handling exercises at the end. So I've got a little harness here. This harness is actually gonna be like way too big for Lily, but that's okay. I'll be growing every week. Now harnesses come in different styles. This particular harness, they have to like stick their head through to get it on them. A lot of times when we first start getting our puppies dressed, maybe they don't like it. Maybe they're biting us. Some puppies find it really restrictive. Then all of a sudden you start to pull out the harness and they're running away from you. So I want to make sure that I'm teaching my puppy right off the bat that they love to get dressed. And you can see that Lily loves food, so we can use this to our advantage. Since her head needs to go through this harness, I'm going to stick my hand through the hole where her head needs to go. I'm going to show her that I have a piece of food. There it is. And I'm going to slip it right over her head while she's thinking about that food. Once it's slipped over her head, then I'm going to feed her a piece. So she got a piece there. And then I need to pull her little arm through. Good girl. So she gets a piece for her arm coming through. And then finally I need to snap that buckle and she gets a piece for that. So now you can see that it's on. She's like, what the heck is on me? So we're not going to keep it on for very long, just a couple of minutes. And you can see I'm going to kind of keep her distracted with the cookies. I can do one of those a get it cookie. Wow, good girl. Ready? Get it. Just to teach her, and again, this harness is like ridiculously too big for her right now. But I just want to teach her that she can move around. She's got something on her, that it's not scary, it's not a big deal. Get it. And now we're going to do a couple of repetitions of our first handling exercise. Find my clicker again. Here it is. Let's move this way, Lily. Oh, did you find a crumb? Yeah, crumbs are great. Okay, so for this first handling exercise on day 1, I'm going to hold the cookies at one end of the dog just to lure them to hold still. I'm going to take my clicker hand and bring it right underneath her abdomen. I'm going to mark that with the clicker and then I'm going to go ahead and feed her. I'm going to do this a couple repetitions in a row. Oh, careful. Floors are slippery. Good job. So I'm just applying a little bit of pressure to her abdomen, kind of giving her like a little hug. With little guys, like she's going to stay a small breed dog, so I do kind of maybe pick them up off the ground a little bit. So the clicker is marking that pressure or that lifting, and then I'm coming in with the food. Okay, we can do it from both sides. Wait, hang on, that one's huge. Let me break that one in half. Good girl. So now from the other side. Good girl. Right here. Thinks it's in my other hand because it was before. And good girl. Now I'm going to switch it up just a little bit. My clicker hand is still going to come underneath her abdomen, but my other hand now is going to come underneath her chest. So this being held like this is often how your dog is going to be restrained at the vet hospital if they ever need to be. So we like to train this as a positive thing right off the bat with puppies. So clicker hand under belly, other hand's coming under her chest now, and I'm lifting her just a little bit, marking it with the clicker, and then coming in with that food reward. Okay, we're gonna do this one more time and then we're gonna get her undressed from her harness. So you see, I got her dressed in her harness and then I wasn't just like, okay, deal with it. We did a little training exercise so that she's getting used to wearing the harness, but she's not just thinking about the harness and getting mad about it the whole time. Okay, so now that we are done with our handling exercise, we are going to get Lily undressed from her harness. So I'm going to undo her back buckle and pull her little leg back through. And I will feed her a piece for that, for holding nice and still for me and not biting me. And then we're going to slip it back over her head and feed her one final piece for that. Wow, you did so good. And that is where we will end Lily's training session for today.